Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Thursday. It is the second day of March 2023. I hope you're all safe and healthy today. I hope your family's safe and healthy, and I hope the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, along with the first responders who every day are trying to save lives. And those also who pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks and parks and streets clean and disease free. And those that make deliveries of mail and food and water and important things for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography. The victims also of prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, double curses on the profiteers, and double curses on the perverts that create this ugly and heinous industry. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children on the streets of the United States, mostly children, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. So, the New York Knicks dominated. Completely thrashed and dominated the Brooklyn Nets last night. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, we know, are without KD and Kyrie. That's a huge loss. There's no doubt. Two all NBA talents, two superstars, two former champions that they lost. So, yes, but there are no scrubs on the Nets. The Knicks made them look that way last night. And a lot of people still don't get it, but for those of you with basketball intelligence, you understand. You don't get to this point in March playing your best basketball, dominating, thoroughly thrashing teams in a trap game by accident. It's not luck. It's planning. It's preparation. It's coaching to get you here. Those people still doubting Tom Thibodeau, I don't even want to talk to you. You understand, because when you put your comments on my thing, I just get rid of you. I don't even want to hear that. That's not only ridiculous and not only unreasonable, it's patently a falsehood to be negative about Tom Thibodeau. The man's got this team ready. They're playing their best basketball right now. There was all kinds of rumors, all kinds of desires for big moves at the trade deadline. For his third season, Leon Rose did not make big moves at the trade deadline. Instead, he chooses to make calculated, precise moves, small even moves that enhance the team. The Josh Hart move was following a similar path of the Derrick Rose move 2 years ago. Last year, he tried to do it with Cam Reddish. The difference between the Rose, Reddish, and Hart is in one of those cases, Tom Thibodeau wasn't on board. And it played itself out that way. He wasn't on board. In fact, in the Tom Thibodeau's second season, bringing on Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, and Cam Reddish, only Evan Fournier they were asked about Evan Fournier, Tom Thibodeau. Not Kemba, not Cam. So that cost, in part, the second season of the rebuild, but they still won 37 games, which in a rebuild team, after a team that was winning 19, 17, 21 games a year, that is a huge, huge improvement. Everybody was trying to act like they were supposed to be top four in the East again when it was year one of the rebuild. Now you're in year three. The players that you drafted over the last 2 seasons are playing. They're in a rotation for the most part. Players that you drafted before Tom Thibodeau that were jewels, like a Mitchell Robinson, like an R.J. Barrett, are starters. And so Tom Thibodeau deserves all the credit in the world. This year, I got to give the Coach of the Year nod to Mike Brown, because the Sacramento Kings have been even sadder than the New York Knicks for a long time. And this cat got the Kings in the top 4, top 3 in the West in March. So I got to give that to him. But aside from Mike Brown, Tom Thibodeau's hand to me, and the coach in Boston. I got to give the coach in Boston his props, Mazzulla, because he took over as interim For Ime Udoka, there was all of that distraction, and he has Boston, fighting for the top spot in the East. So those two and Tibbs, to me, there's no other coaches you need to be discussing for Coach of the Year. There's no other executives you need to be discussing for Executive of the Year except the Dom. He's been doing all of the moves you're seeing now are moves that have been in development from his first season, including and especially the draft capital that the Knicks have. Okay, now he started off with some draft capital because Steve Mills left him some, but he has more than built up off it. Traded, got more, got players cheap, traded, got more. That's how we got Quentin Grimes. That's how we got Deuce McBride. That's how we got Emmanuel Quickly, trading down, trading up, getting more picks for his moves. I mean, yeah, there's that. And so here the Knicks are. I felt very strongly in the beginning of the season, as all you can attest, that the Knicks would win at least 45 games. I said that. And that they would be top 6 in the East, especially if he started going to the defensive players like a Deuce, like a Grimes. People were saying, there were people that were arguing with me last summer, Fournier's going to start. There's no way you can't, just shooting is too great, blah, 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 blah. And I was telling you, it's going to be Grimes. And it was. The reason I said that is because I'm tapped in, because Tibbs is my type of coach, and I'm tapped into the defensive mind, understanding what we need. And I've seen a lot of basketball over the decades. So here we are, playing the best basketball of the season, as we thought at this stage of the season. So when you see the Knicks beat a Boston Celtics on a Monday, then come back on Wednesday and thrash the Nets, this is a good thing. The Knicks have obviously won 7 in a row. After winning 8 in a row, when Tibbs first went to the 9-man rotation, which a lot of people was like, he's going to burn all his players out. Bull crap. And I kept telling you all it was bull crap. He's not burning his players out. Everybody that's a champions, they play 9, 8, 9, sometimes 10. But when I talk about rotation, I'm not talking about getting 2 minutes. I'm talking about at least 10 minutes. That's the rotation. So last night, quickly, Hart, 19 minutes for Hartenstein, 13 minutes for Toppin. That's the rotation. Aside from the starting 5, that's the rotation. Okay? 3 minutes for Jay Sims, 3 minutes for McBride, 3 minutes for Kills. That's not rotation minutes. That's just garbage minutes or spot minutes. That's situational. That's not rotation. So when he went, that is Tibbs, to the 9-man rotation, 8 in a row, with Deuce included in that, because now you had Deuce and Grimes along with Mitchell Robinson to anchor the defense. 9 in a row, 8 in a row. Okay? So then Deuce, and again, I'm Deuce high, you know that, but I have no problem with Hart, because Deuce is 22, Hart is going to be 28 in a couple of days. That's a 6-year difference. That's a guy that's been in the league for a minute and is now in his prime as a rotational bench piece. That will help you. That helped Mobb Deep go to the next level. Okay? Grimes. Speaking of Grimes, I already told you. And some of y'all still arguing with me. Some of y'all just like to argue. I get that now. Some of y'all are just sad people that like to argue. Okay. But I told you Grimes is an elite defender. An elite perimeter defender. Okay? So last night, and I told y'all that one of the reasons that he is having trouble shooting is because he puts all his energy on the best offensive player on the opposing team. It was him guarding Tatum. It's him guarding, the top players. Him guarding Maxey, or him guarding when Irving was there. Irving is him guarding these guys. Okay, that's him guarding Gary Trent Jr. Okay, Levine, Donovan Mitchell. That's Grimes for all of those guys. Okay, but last night he had to guard between Dinwiddie, Cam Johnson, McCall Bridges. These are all rotational guys like him. None of these guys are superstars. He has more energy now. And what happened? What did he do with that energy? Well, last night he went 6 of 9 from 3, 8 of 12 from the field. Very efficient. Scored 22. +5. And look, when you have a Randall, a RJ, a Brunson, okay, a three-headed monster. When you got those three, I don't want to say big three because I don't think that covers it accurately, but it's a force from those three. You expect those three. So last night Randall gets 21, Brunson drops 39. RJ gets 15 on 5 of 11 shooting. And you have those three, and they can any of them could go off on any given night. But then you get another guy, a Grimes, that, okay, you got to pay attention to Brunson. You got to pay attention to Randy. You got to pay attention to RJ, especially going to his left from bully ball. And you see Grimes start nailing. That's why you get an 81-point half, a 47-point first quarter. Okay? And don't let Emmanuel quickly come off the bench doing his thing. Don't let Obi get fired like he did the other night and start knocking down his threes. Now you got all kinds of problems. And then, of course, there's the defense. I didn't want them to allow Brooklyn to get 100 points last night. But once the game was out of reach, it was out of reach. And some of y'all would complain, at the fourth quarter, he had all his starters in there. Tibbs has his style. It's not your style. It's his. He's a pro coach. He's been a pro coach for 20 years. He's got the Knicks in the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 seasons. Stop second guessing a guy that has forgotten more about basketball than you'll ever know. Okay? So he brings in his starters. And I get it. You know why? Because it's not just this game. It's this part of the season. He's trying to keep them ready and sharp. Because when playoffs come, everything you're seeing, what's going on right now is they are now fitting together. They know each other. The continuity is there. And really the most important thing, they're executing. They're executing offensively. They're executing defensively. It takes time to get to that point. When you're playing like a Milwaukee Bucks, who's been playing together for years and has won chips and has been to Eastern Conference Finals and Finals, they execute because they know each other. It's good coaching on top of Budenholzer is a great coach, but they also know how to execute, especially defensively, offensively. They don't get lost. For example, if you watched Cam Thomas last night, he's going to be a good player, but he has a lot to learn about execution, about defense. It's more than just being able to put the ball in the hole in the NBA. Okay, you got to play defense, at least a little bit. Okay, he gets completely lost on defense. And, his IQ on the defensive end is non-existent. So it takes time. But when you don't, so with guys like that, you're not going to a deep playoff run. But you get execution on the offensive, defensive side of basketball. You start to understand where each other's going to be all the time. That comes with continuity, with time, with repetitions. And in Tom Thibodeau's system, it really starts to come in the second half of a season. Okay? Guys like a Julius Randle, like a RJ Barrett, like a Jalen Brunson, they got their second win now. They're NBA players. They're supposed to play 82 games. And they start getting their second win. It happens to everybody. Then you got guys like Grimes, who's really like playing like his rookie year because he was hurt and he hit the wall. He got to fight through that. You still got that situation as well. So there's a lot of dynamics that goes into it, but this is the end result. You win 7 in a row in March. When you need to win, when you need to be playing your best basketball. Okay, this is what they're doing right now. Last night, we had 6 players in double figures. The Knicks had 28 assists last night. They had 46 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson is like a man on a mission, man. 13 points. He had 10 boards, 3 on the offensive end, a block. And of course, you can't measure his impact on the defensive end. You just can't. It's just, you have to see it. You have to understand what you're looking at. Because he prevents a lot of guys that, let's say Brunson would get beat off the dribble. Okay? And Brunson does get beat off the dribble. But when Mitch Rob is not there, the guy that beats Brunson off the dribble will attack the basket, ferociously because nobody's there. But when he gets beat by somebody and Mitchell Robinson's behind him, there's a hesitation. That split-second hesitation stops everything. Okay? It does. And it gives everybody a chance to recover. And that happens 100 times. It happens a lot during the course of a game. Okay. And then, of course, when Mitch Robinson is there, the guy that beats Brunson off the dribble, he's going to look for his teammate because Robinson's got to help out. Now, sometimes he does get the ball there and Robinson gets a dunk because he had to go help out because it's supposed to be a rotation. But lots of times he gets back. And so the pass is not there. Now, everybody can recover and they got to start over again. That's great defense, yo. That's great defense. The Knicks are playing at a very high level. Now, yesterday I heard some things that did bother me from the media. Now, everybody's on board. The Knicks could win the first round series. Whereas, as you know, the beginning of the season, oh man, if they make the play-in, it'd be good. If they win 37 games, I'll be happy. They make the play-in, they certainly won't make the playoffs. Okay, so now everybody's waking up, jumping on the bandwagon, media jumping on the bandwagon. Everybody's now saying they can win a first round series, but there's just no way they can play with Boston and Milwaukee, and there's no way we can play for them. Listen here. The Knicks can beat anybody. See, and we're talking about 7-game series. They can beat anybody. There's nobody in the NBA they cannot beat. The difference, again, will come down to execution. Okay, you got to play 7 games now. You get to study the other team. The other team studies you. It's not like this is 7 games. So it's going to be a lot of strategy. Tom Thibodeau's a master. I know some of you don't believe that, but he is. He's a master at that. His whole coaching style is built for the playoffs. His whole coaching style. Everything he's doing is like game 7 of a playoff series. He's built for that. He's not built for the grind necessarily. That's why they start off slow. But playoffs, that's why he likes veterans. Because he wants execution in the playoffs. Very important. Every play is important. Half-court game is important. Okay? The Knicks can beat anybody. I talked about the Bucks because some of y'all got it twisted, but the Bucks match up very well with the Knicks. They have and then the continuity, and of course, the best player, in my opinion, the best basketball player in the planet Earth is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He is the best basketball player on planet Earth. Okay, if he had a 3-point shot, he'd be scoring 70 and 80 points. There's no doubt. Okay, so and if he could hit his foul shot, it'd be ridiculous. But right now, he's still ridiculous on both sides of the basketball. Guy that's defensive player of the year and MVP. So you have that surrounded by shooters and people that play defense. That's why they good. So they match up well with the Knicks. But even then, I'm not going to write it off as an automatic win for them if the Knicks face them in the playoffs. They better be ready because the Knicks are. They're going to be ready. Okay? But there's no other team I fear. So what am I saying? I think the Knicks can win 2 rounds, dare I say. And part of this is going to be how they finish this season, which brings me to last night's win again. Okay, so that was a trap game. They won this game. And I hate to tell you, but I mean, I know I've been repeating myself. We'll put it that way. But the big game is Friday. They got to play in Miami against Miami. They win this game. They got to come back Sunday and play Boston. Now, honestly, I'm not expecting them to beat Boston in Boston on Sunday. But I'm rooting for them to do that. If they do that, the NBA is going to have a serious problem. Everybody better hope they lose one of these 2 games. Because if they win both of these games and end up winning 9 straight, the NBA has a serious problem. Okay? Serious problem with the Knicks. And look, if they get that hot, then I will concede to those who are, there's people been asking me, you think they can get the 4th or the 3rd seed? I say no, I say 5th, 6th, yeah, but 4th, 3rd, unlikely. But if they go past Sunday and they beat Miami and they beat Boston, anything is possible. They can get the 4th seed. They can even try for the 3rd, but they can definitely get the 4th seed. Okay? Just that being that hot at that time. Cleveland has to keep winning, you see. If the Knicks keep winning and Cleveland doesn't keep winning, the Knicks are going to take the 4th seed. Okay? There's a cushion now between 3 and top notch. There's a bigger cushion. But Cleveland's in range right now. And I'm saying to y'all, okay, they got to beat Miami Friday. That's going to be a tough game. And if they get through that, they got to beat Boston Sunday. These are two very difficult games, and they have already won 7 straight. But if they come through here and beat those two teams, and then they got to play Charlotte after that, anything's possible. Okay? The Knicks can end up in the 4th seed. There's no doubt. Okay? But right now, to me, 4th, 5th is almost irrelevant because home court don't really mean nothing to the Knicks. They could beat people just as well on the road as they can at home. Okay? So, but I have to say though, playoffs at Madison Square Garden. Anyway, this is going to be on. So right now, we have a team that is in the conversation. Oh, well, they're not in the conversation. I'm telling you, they should be in the conversation for the Eastern Conference Finals because you win your first 2 series and you're in the Eastern Conference Finals. That's how it works, okay? You win your first 2 series, you're in the Eastern Conference Finals. So they can win a series, the first round, not a given, but they can. And then second round is going to be interesting. But what's really interesting to tell that is what's going to happen in these next 2 games. So enjoy your Wednesday. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the ride. Be safe out there. Sure.